English isn't my first language, so I apologize if there's any mistakes. I work an office job. I have a coworker, Anne. And is currently pregnant, and is around 6 months pregnant. We have a dedicated break room where we go for lunch, as we aren't allowed to eat anything or drink anything except water bottles in the office because of the computers. We all have our own break schedules that are the same every day. And then I go to break together. Our lunch break is from 13:30 to 14:30. No one else is on this schedule, and take their breaks earlier or later. In the break room, there's a few chairs and a couple of couches, over the past 2 weeks, and had started taking naps on one of the couches during her lunch break. I know it's not my business as to what she does on her break. She can do what she wants. Last Friday, and then I were taking our breaks as usual. I was listening to music on my headphones, and when it was around 14:30, I got up to go back to work. I didn't really pay attention to what Anne was doing. Everyone was confused and was saying, "Where's Anne?" by around 1500 hours because they needed her, and our boss went into the break room and Anne was still sleeping. And got a warning from our boss, and is now angry with me, because our breaks end at the same time, so I should have woken her up. She said I'm selfish and careless. A lot of our other coworkers are on Anne's side and agree. I told Anne if she can't wake up, she shouldn't sleep during her break. She said the baby makes her tired and accused me of calling her lazy and being insensitive. My late wife passed away 6 years ago. I have 2 kids, Adam, 17, Leah, 15. Their mom inherited a necklace from her mother inherited it from her mother. It's a tradition in the family to pass this necklace down to the daughters. My late wife gave me the necklace to keep and then give to Leah when she's legally an adult. No one knew about this except my current wife. Well, she told Adam about it and he barged into my office the other day asking what his mom left for him. I was confused. I asked what's wrong and he brought up the necklace. I explained the sentiment behind it and told him I'm planning on giving it to his sister before she moves out for college. He demanded to have the necklace since he too is our child, but I said it was gifted to his sister specifically, not him. He went on about favoritism and whatnot, but I told him it's a tradition that involves only the daughters in the family. I told him it's his mom's wish and he should be respectful of it, especially when he has a ton of her stuff. He got enraged and called me and his mom sexist asshole for agreeing on, let alone carrying on with this sexist bullshit. I said I was done arguing and he went upstairs and stayed in his room after yelling at his sister. He refused to eat or speak to neither me or Leah. My wife says I should give it to him to keep the peace, but I declined. My ex-husband and I were together for 20 years. We had a beautiful daughter together, Jocelyn. We got a divorce 5 years ago due to infidelity on his part. I was devastated. He was the love of my life and he betrayed all of the trust and loyalty we had built up. To make matters worse, he ended up in a relationship with the woman he cheated on me with. They got engaged 1 year later and are set to be married in 2 weeks. Honestly, I still am heartbroken over my divorce. It's hurtful to me that we were together for 20 years. And he could just go fall in love with someone else, as if I was nothing. However, Jocelyn was only 9 when we divorced, and he's a great father, so I would never want to come in between their bond. Jocelyn loves his fiancée as she's very sweet to her, but she doesn't know the reason why her dad and I divorced. I want to tell her when she's a bit older and he doesn't want to tell her at all. Anyways, I compromised with him that Jocelyn could come to the wedding, but that he would have to provide the transportation to and from the wedding, as I want no part of it. I don't want to drop my daughter off at his wedding. I don't want to see all the decorations and the happy guests. It'd just be too much for me. I didn't tell him all of that obviously, but he agreed. Today he calls me and asks if he can ask for a huge favor. It turns out that his future in-laws are flying in the morning of the wedding, and he has to go pick them up, therefore he can't pick up my daughter the day of, and wanted to ask if I could take her. I said absolutely not and asked why he can't pick her up the day before when she gets off of school. He said he doesn't want to make the drive twice, and that he will likely not have time as he has to prepare for the rehearsal dinner. I asked why can't the bride pick up her parents. He said she'll be getting her hair done and won't be able to. I laughed and told him there was no way I'd take my daughter, and that he'd have to figure it out. Boy, why did I say that? My daughter ran downstairs crying, face beet red 10 minutes after my conversation with her dad, calling me terrible and accusing me of not wanting her to spend time with her dad. I told her that's not the case and she demanded to know why I couldn't take her. I couldn't give her an answer and she ran upstairs crying. Now I'm getting messages from his family calling me heartless and cold and a bitch for trying to ruin his special day over a relationship that is long over. My family understands my point of view. But I feel terrible that I've upset my daughter. I don't know what to do. Should I just put aside my feelings and take her?
My dad passed away days ago. My sister's husband said he couldn't be present for the funeral because he had to go on a business trip out of town, which made my sister more devastated. She's got so much on her plate: pregnancy, my nephew, and now dad's death. Bill is a grade A workaholic and it's affected his social life, but he refuses to admit it. The day of the funeral, my boyfriend was the one driving us. We drove past my Bill's workplace at 8 p.m. and saw his car in the parking lot. I couldn't believe it. I know his car well since he used to drive me to school with it sometimes. I took a picture of it and sent it to my sister. My sister was losing it, so my boyfriend suggested we bail. He dropped me off at my friend's house, and later I found out that my sister found that her husband was in town the entire time but lied so he didn't have to skip work for the funeral. There was a huge blow up and he called me yelling, saying I had no business stalking him at his workplace and taking pictures of his vehicle. My family are mad at him but also at me because they said I stirred shit and caused my sister more sister now that she's arguing with Bill about him purposely missing the funeral. My boyfriend said I did the right thing.
I have been married to Jane for about 10 years now. We both have 2 kids from previous relationships. I have Tim and Harry, while she has Eve and Matt. About half a year ago my father died and left us his house to us, which we moved into selling our old house. When we moved in, Jane began asking that I put her name on the house as well, which I refused since before we got married, we agreed to have separate finances. Jane didn't like this and started acting out at home, not helping out, leaving the house for hours at a time and not responding to my texts or calls. When I asked her why she's doing this, she said it's not her house so she shouldn't have to help out. This didn't help my relationship with her daughter, who's never really liked me, in contrast to her brother who adores me and is best friends with Harry. She often shouts that I'm not her dad so I should leave her alone, which is hurtful, but I just let it go. But it got to the point that one day, Jane, Eve, and myself got into an argument, and out of spite I wrote Eve out of my will if she wasn't going to see me as a father. Then she wasn't entitled to my money. A few weeks ago Eve had a festival and asked to use my car to go. I told her no, as I'd have to take the car to work. She said why I didn't just take Uber, and I said that I had all my students' assignments and other materials in my car, so it's like a convenient storage. She went in a mood and went to her room. Come the day before the festival and I wake up to go to work and my car isn't there. I had to call in sick to work and called everyone to find out where my car had went. I called the police to report a stolen vehicle. And a few hours later I get an angry call from Jane shouting at me for getting Eve arrested. It turns out that Eve and her friends broke into my car the night before and took it so they could go to the festival. When they got home from the station they went off on me and started accusing me of hating Eve and wanting her to suffer in jail. I just went to sleep because I was already too stressed out for the day. Come the next morning I find out that Jane had gone through my folders and seen my will and told Eve. Eve smashed her brother Matt's gaming PC that I had bought for him, saying that he doesn't deserve anything from that monster. When I found out I was livid. Her mother tried to defend her and I wasn't having any of it. And I just ended up kicking Eve out of my house. Jane shouted at me saying how could I do that to her and that I'm a selfish monster. I didn't care, I just let her talk while Eve packed her things. Jane has been sleeping in Eve's rooms now. She goes to work, orders takeaway for herself and just stays in the room. I sometimes overhear her talking trash about me on the phone. Eve has been staying with her aunt on the other side of the city. I feel bad since I just wanted to give the kids a real family and now I've just gone and ruined it for them. So am I the asshole? I am friends with Ed. Ed has a girlfriend H who lives with him and his parents due to her mom kicking her out. I am not very close with H, but I do see her as a mutual friend. I worked my butt off to buy my first house back in 2021 so I can keep all my cats. I own 3 cats, also because my mom is mildly allergic to cats. But anyways, Ed asked me if him and his girlfriend can come over to hang out. Once they got here, H immediately went straight for my cats, which is fine, my cats love the attention, but it progressively got weird when she asked me if she could have one of them, especially Ash, my Savannah cat. If you don't know, Savannah cats, especially in Texas, are very rare to find and only certain counties allow you to own them. But H went on to explain how Ed parents don't like cats and how she wants to own one of these cats. I immediately shut her down and told her my cats are not for sale and explained to her I worked hard to get my hand on these cats. Right after that she started complaining to Ed first, right in front of me by the way, how it's not fair she can't own a cat and how privileged I am to have a good paying job. I reminded her again I haven't even received my associate's degree yet, and I am working hard to be where I'm at. She threw another fuss and things got awkward afterwards, but soon she asked to leave. As she was leaving she asked me if I could grab her bottled water, and as soon as I turned around she was literally gone. I was confused, but oh well. About 10 minutes passed by and I was going to feed my cats until I realized my Savannah cat, Ash, was missing. At first I thought she was hiding, but I realized she wasn't anywhere in my house or the backyard. I immediately called Ed and asked him if H took my cat, and he did confirm, and I quote, "Yes, H has Ash." Ash started following her to the car and jumped in, and H didn't notice till we got on the freeway. "We are basically home, so we'll return your cat tomorrow. I don't feel like driving back." And this pissed me off because Savannah cats aren't small at all. Like you must be blind not to notice a 2-foot cat in your car. I immediately told him to return Ash to me or I will be calling the police. I'm assuming he thought I was bluffing because he said chill out, H knows how to take care of cats pretty well. I immediately hung up and called the police and gave them their address. To sum up, the police showed up at Ed's house and told them to either return my cat or be reported for theft. About 20 minutes later Ed was at my door shoving Ash into my arms and calling me an asshole, claiming I don't trust him or H and I'm being greedy. But now that I'm thinking about it I feel kinda bad. Maybe it was just an accident and I was overreacting.
Two of my kids, 14-16, are in high school this year, because we're not far enough away for the bus to take them, less than 1.5 miles, I drive them or they ride their bikes. Before the semester started I was asked by another parent in the area if I would join a small carpool. My 2 kids, a set of twins in the same grade as my older, and 1 kiddo in the grade between my kids. I said I could drive to school on Tuesday and Thursday, and I can pick up on Wednesday and Friday. There are 2 other parents who drive the other 3 days. Last week was the first week of school starting on Tuesday. The kids were outside their homes waiting when I pulled up both days. This morning I asked my to text the carpool kids and remind them what time I would get there. She did and showed me the positive responses from the twins. The 3rd kid didn't respond. I picked up the twins, waiting outside, and drove to the last kid's house. They weren't outside waiting, so I sent my older to knock on the door. She knocked twice and no answer. So I just took the other kids to school. When I got to work at 8:15 I had 3 missed calls and a couple angry voicemails from the kid's mom calling me an AH for not picking up her kid. I called her back and told her how my daughter texted to say about what time we would be there. That my daughter knocked on the door when her kid wasn't outside waiting, and they didn't answer. The mom said I should have called her kid to wake him up before I left my house, and that I should have waited until he was ready. I told her that waking her kid up is not my responsibility, and that I can't wait around more than 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, since I don't want the other kids to be late to school. She called me a bitch and hung up on me. Thankfully she wasn't picking up the kids today. I called the other carpool parent and explained the situation, that I would be dropping out of the carpool. The other mom told me that no, she'd had trouble with this other kid and his mom too, and if I was willing to still drive her kids she was still willing to drive mine. Essentially getting this kid his mom kicked out of carpool.